Yes, we're in the same location. I'm in the same dress. Between Stuart Buck's book last week and this week's book, I flew through them and it just worked out this way. So hello and welcome back. This week I'm really excited because I'm bringing to you Charlie Mackesie's book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and I completely bought this on the basis of the fox because they are my favorite. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was in a mall and I don't really like shopping, but I was there. And then I found a bookshop, so I was like, obviously I have to go in, and I saw this, and so I picked it up. And what's really cool is, first of all, I love that it's not like a normal font, it's all scripty, and I think that was just super unique and it just drew me in. And I really just liked the beginning where it says, hello, you started at the beginning, which is impressive. I usually start in the middle and never read introductions. It's surprising that I've made a book because I'm not very good at reading them. The truth is, I need pictures. They're like islands, places to get to in a sea of words. And as much as I love words, I love the sentiment. I just think it's super beautiful. And what else is really beautiful are just the drawings. Like, look at this. It's so good. Excuse my manicure. I am in need of a fresh one. Like, it's just so pretty in its simultaneous simplicity and complexity. And I'm literally no art person. I could not tell you like the different techniques or anything. I can't even tell you the last time I took an art class, but I just think that there's this beauty in it. It kind of came to me at a good time in a sense because especially with these kind of more simple black and white sketches, if you will. I was just at the Denver Botanic Gardens and they had a Dali exhibit, and it was so cool because it was like the flowers of the mind, and Dali, I'll put a photo here if I can remember to do that. It was just really cool because there's like the focal point, but then there's all this like extra stuff happening, and so it's a kind of similar style as these line sketches, and I just made me love it all the more. So more or less for me, I feel like this is a book about friendship. So it starts out with the boy. Oh, sorry, one more drawing. Isn't that just the coolest? I think it's it makes me so happy. So it starts off with the boy and he's all by himself until he meets the mole. And the mole is just this supportive little dude who is like obsessed with cake, but at the same time he is inquisitive and he gives advice, and he's just this beautiful little mole. And then they meet a fox, and the fox is pretty quiet, and it kind of reminded me, and I mentioned this in the written blog, it kind of reminded me of Aesop's fable of the Lion and the Mouse, because it starts, they meet each other. Now, of course, I flip past it. This is what I get for not marking things. So they're like walking along one day, and then they see a fox, and the fox is trapped, and he's like trying to be all rough and tough and aggressive, but then the mole frees him, and they invite him to come along. And even though the fox doesn't talk much, I think it's just really beautiful because it's kind of one of those friendships that you don't really expect to have, but you're just really grateful for it. And I think that's really cool. And then eventually they meet a horse. And the horse is the biggest creature that they've ever seen. And the horse is just this wise, knowing, that's redundant, but this beautiful, I keep saying beautiful, but it really is. It's just a beautiful story. But I love just how wise the horse is. Like he says, tears fall for a reason, and they are your strength. not weakness. Or he says, everyone is a bit scared, but we are less scared together. And I think, can you tell I'm excited? I can't think of words. I think what I just really like about it is that there's such simple outlooks on life. There's such simple beliefs, like that, like being brave. He has a great, how he said that asking for help isn't giving up, it's refusing to give up. Or the horse was at its strongest when he dared to show his weakness. Like, there's such simple mottos that are so easily overlooked, because I think we focus not necessarily on the wrong thing, but maybe it's on the wrong thing. But we focus on one or the other, and I think a lot of times we think they're mutually exclusive, but the horse shows us that they don't have to be. And I think that's just really cool. And what I also really like is at one point, because the boy's just trying to get home, and eventually they realize that home is where the four of them are together. And I know that that's also cliche, because like there's all those songs and whatnot about like home is where the heart is, and home is where the people who you love are, and yada yada yada. But I mean, there wouldn't be all those songs and whatnot if it didn't have a semblance of truth. And I think this is just a really wonderful, heart-wrenching, not like the bad kind of heart-wrenching, but like the tug on your heartstrings kind of heart-wrenching way of like visually showing that. It's such a vulnerable book in the sense that I think you can relate to all the characters to a certain degree. Like the little boy initially feeling alone and trying to find his way, or the mole who like he just wants cake. He just wants cake and his friends, and that's all he needs. Or the fox who, there's this one part where, let me see if I can find it. There's this other great quote while I'm looking at it. It says, life is difficult, but you are loved. Like, it's so good. So it says, the fox never really speaks, whispered the boy. No, and it's lovely he is with us, said the horse. To be honest, I often feel I have nothing interesting to say, said the fox. Being honest is always interesting, said the horse. Like, who hasn't felt like that? Who hasn't felt like you didn't have anything to add to the conversation? I mean, I literally felt like that at a meeting this week at work. And then, like, you're always someone's horse, whether it's your best friend or your sibling, or I don't know, everybody has their horse moment where like you're the one with the good advice, you're the one with the good thought. Like, they're just all such relatable characters, and they're so well developed for being, again, another really short read, but it's a really enjoyable read. Like the back, it says, the world that I am required to inhabit is this one, but the world that I long to inhabit is the one Charlie Mackesy has created, and that was Elizabeth Gilbert. And to me, that kind of meant, obviously, this world, but like the world in this book, to me, is just a world of friendship, a world of trying to not let the world overwhelm you, and when it does, being brave enough to say, hey, I'm overwhelmed right now, can you help? Or Richard Curtis says, a wonderful work of art and a wonderful window into the human heart. And I think that's also really true, just because I think having friends and wanting friends is a very human thing. And I think this captures it really well. And I just really love the support that is shown here. So, I completely recommend. Like, I can't even think of a reason why you shouldn't read this book, why you wouldn't want to read this book. Like, it's so good, and it's heartwarming. And Like, you can read it with literally everybody. You could read it with your kid. You could read it with your significant other. You could read it by yourself with your tea or your coffee or whatever it is, and just make yourself feel better. It's a good book. Definitely recommend. And that's all I have for right now. So, thank you so much for watching. I did not bring my new book with me, so we're going to jump ahead real quick. This is the book for next week. I'm partnering with Inkberry Books again. It's called The Afterlife Road and Other Stories by Bryce Austin. I'm very excited. Seems like it should be a good book. Okay, great. And that's all I have for this week. Thank you so much. And in the meantime, happy reading and thanks.